Hi, so my name is Quadacia Williams, and I am at Sumter County Elementary. So I taught the Picasso lesson on February 3rd, and it took roughly probably 30 minutes. So I'm in a reading class, so I had connected a read aloud to the activity. So we read When Picasso Met Matisse, and that book was just about Pablo Picasso as well as Henry Matisse, and after we read the book, I kind of explained who Picasso was. We focused on Pablo Picasso, but we did talk about Henry just a little bit, but not much. Um, I talked about who Pablo Picasso was, the things he did as far as Cubism, being a co-founder of Cubism, his artwork, and how each piece of artwork looked or whatnot. And then we looked at a lot of examples. We looked at a lot of examples of pictures, and you could like tell that the students didn't even know who Pablo Picasso was because they had so many questions as far as like what's cubism and why this side of the face look like this and the other side looks like that. I was just explaining. It's kind of like a puzzle. When you take the picture apart, you can put it back together with all the geometric shapes and pieces that he was known for. Um, I did it with both classes, so we switched classes. So it's probably like 20 something in one class and 13 in another because of the other class. The second class is an inclusion class, so it's not many. But I did it with both classes just so they can get that read aloud for that day, as well as complete the activity. Like I said, it's a third grade class. Some of the learning outcomes we talked about cubism. We talked about the different pieces and some of his uh how he got some of his ideas from African masks, and we looked at some African masks. We talked about some of the learning, like basically some of the learning outcomes. They learned about the cultural of the African mask and his paintings, and they also learned about who he was. So they could tell me who Pablo Picasso was and some of the features of his paintings, such as cubism. Um, what went well and what did not go well. So I think the thing that went well was just using that read aloud to help connect who he was and the type of painting that he did. Um, what didn't go well? I would say what didn't go well is, with some of the well, it went well because like like I said, every child has different are in different developmental stages as far as that fine motor and drawing. So I think it went well. Um I think the whole lesson went well. The teachers enjoyed it, the students enjoyed it. It was very engaging because at that school it isn't too much like arts and fun activities going on in the class for them to do it, they were very engaged with the lesson. And even if they couldn't draw, like they were laughing, uh, talking about one ear is this way and another is, and or how the faces look. So they enjoyed it. Um, if I to improve my teaching next time, I would change probably the materials that we use because we only had like pencil. We only had pencil. First they used the pencil, and then I had them trace with a black marker, and then they used crayons to color it. I would change probably the materials, introduce them to some new materials as far as the oil pastels and stuff. I think that would be more fun and more engaging since they're older too. So I would change that to improve the lesson. Um, what I learned from teaching this lesson is just how engaging and how fun it is for the students to connect that common content area with something like an extracurricular activity as far as arts and music, how that really improves students' engagement. I know we read on it from the first reading reflection, but to actually do it and see how students are more engaged from just a regular day lesson and how they were on that day was a dramatic change because they were more interested. They were asking more questions than they usually do. So I think that was something for me to learn as far as connecting arts to general content areas. Um, Two examples of how students were participating and engaging in the lesson. Um, one one of the students were talking about like Michael Jackson and how half of the face was white and half of it was black, and which was it was really funny how he taught related music to his picture, and I was just like, you need to add some color, and he was like, no, it's Michael Jackson Picasso, which is kind of funny to me. The students were asking me to draw, so which of course I modeled, but like to show them the different examples that I had to help them with it. They were really engaged. They was asking questions. They were asking like, what color should I use? I want mine to look like that Picasso picture. Just asking questions and being engaged with the things that were presented to them. I feel like that's how they were engaging in the lesson there, because usually on a regular normal teaching day, like the students, they don't ask many questions, and she would have to kind of like force it out of them or use like a cup to pull names. But in this situation, they were asking questions. They was making comments. I had to even remind them to raise their hands because it was so much coming from the students. I really enjoyed this lesson. It was really fun just to see the students being creative and how creative they are, because like I said, it's like I didn't really see too much coloring or just creativity in the classroom. So I would say that's like the first time that they've ever done something fun in a long time. But I feel like the lesson went well. Thank you.